All right, so TEQ Beerus is being majorly discussed right now, and we're gonna talk about the community and how they're treating this character, this poor, innocent soul. They're just like absolutely berating him. It's crazy. I'm here with Ignant and Mike. Say hi.
Hello.
What's up?
We're gonna be just reading a few tweets from Doke on Twitter, the cesspool of bad takes, and we're gonna see what's going on.
It's basically become modern Reddit.
I just don't understand the dislike for this guy, or like let's get into it. So I was this morning, I woke up about like 9 in the morning my time, Pacific time, and the timeline was on fire. People were like, TEQ Beerus sucks, or not, maybe not sucks, but like people were like, TEQ Beerus is so overrated, and I didn't understand like where is it coming from. I just like, it is very strange. And we can just go through and see a couple of responses here. Here's Lord Minato. We'll be talking about a couple of his tweets here. I don't know about Sudden. Since day one, I haven't been much of a fan. He's like a sub option, but never my go-to. And then I was like, well, people have been just bringing up that he lacks team or lacks damage. The thing about this argument
You
is,
say he likes teams, you're just stupid. Let's be blatantly honest.
that's it's just true. Like, okay, Realm of God, people, I have so many people tell me you're not running them on Realm of Gods because you're running all Rapture Universe 7 and they're all better. And then when you really think about it, who cares? Like like if I want to run TEQ Beerus in Realm of Gods, I can slide him in there and he does perfectly fine. Hell, TEQ Beerus is a way better slot 1 character than this guy. Now, when he gets his, domain, obviously has a guaranteed dodge and everything like that. Like, it's different, but like this guy as a slot 1 compared to TEQ Beerus, that's not even close, dude. This guy,
Not only that, but if you're
running,
TEQ UI's team, you're probably gonna be running Ajo MUI. You're probably gonna be running in Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta.
this
Guess what?
guy's
There's
not
your Realm
slot
of
1
Gods
anymore.
units right there. It's not like you have to. It's not like you have to bring worse units to make Beerus look good. You're just bringing those units anyways.
Like, do you run this guy as slot 1 anymore? I don't. Like, does anyone really run this character as slot 1 anymore? Like, especially in short content? No. HOUI kind of stick up there. You could put Beast Gohan on the team, but it's like if you're running like a lot of Realm of Gods characters, Beerus is gonna have his guard and his damage reduction. So, like, okay. And then look at movie bosses. There's multiple movie bosses setups that you could do for this guy. Obviously, you have the Lord Slug team filled with movie bosses, TEQ Broly teams filled with movie bosses. A lot of people are saying, well, you're not going to run this guy on uncontrollable power because he's not, obviously on the team, so you won't run him in Broly's team. Okay, that's
You should be running Imp Broly on a team that's not full of uncontrollable power to begin with, so it's just a dumb argument to make to start off with.
Exactly. It's like there's no like there's
That's
still
more of a Broly being built bad issue than Beerus.
and Broly's uncontrollable power. It's like he's not movie bosses. Movie bosses
Yeah.
is TEQ Broly and STR Slug. And this guy is not going to be around on movie bosses when you have maybe Bojack floating around. Slug isn't on uncontrollable power. You'll like to run Slug probably. I mean, you can get some. Could you actually? Demonic power doesn't really work here either. I guess to be fair with Slug, but like on TEQ Broly's team, you could definitely run characters that aren't uncontrollable power, like Team Turles right here. It works really well too. So you might not have that all the time. I think Broly Trio is another character that you could just run here. He does not fit uncontrollable power, right? So, I mean, there you go. I mean, eventually we'll be getting some other characters that don't fit it, that'll easy A as well. Like, I don't know, Esther Cooler, he'll easy A next year potentially, right? So, I don't know. I guess if we're talking about right now, there's a lot of uncontrollable power there, but if you're gonna run that team within Broly, you want to mostly run him on his own team. So if you're running double TEQ Broly, you're gonna be fine with just Beerus as a support character.
Like the entire uncontrollable power team argument, it's not even an argument against Beerus, it's an argument against Broly being the worst built Dokkan SLR of all time.
And then like, okay. He's on a couple of really good strong teams right now. I just don't see the argument that's going on.
I've been seeing so much downplay for his rage mode as well, and I actually just don't understand it at all.
We could bring that up in a bit. there's Vector here
Yeah,
with this stupid, dumb
Reddit
image.
mod.
This Redditor Chungus
37
fat
years old
image.
with 2 kids, by the way.
He's like a 12-year-old dog. Like what? He won't even say anything. He's like, it's just like TEQ Beerus.
Can we knock this out the way real quick about the Beast thing? So I see everyone like complaining about it. Oh, he's not even the same power level as Beast. No one is saying he's as strong as Beast or stronger than Beast. We're saying that he's very similar kit-wise. They both have the damage reduction guard. Both have team protector abilities. Both support. That is what we mean when we say he's like Beast. I have been calling him Mini Beast since his release. They are very similar units.
He is pretty much Mini Beast because, I mean, well, Beast is, of course, a better character. Beast will do more damage. Beast will...
Beast
and sometimes
out Beerus.
yeah, like, Beast is a strong defensive character, but, you know, if we look at their kits, supporting ability right there, guard with damage reduction up to 60% for most of the time, like, same with TEQ Beerus, guard damage reduction with 60%, supporting, right, team protector abilities that they both have, right? This TEQ Beerus team protector ability, just being able to cancel out the enemy super attack is really nice. And, you know, that allows you to put potentially other characters that wouldn't be in slot 1 if they could still tank the normals. You have Beast, obviously, with his active skill. And, again, I think when people say this guy is like Beast 2, they're not saying he's like an upgraded version of Beast. They're saying that he's just another similar kit, like you said. People aren't saying he's as good as it. And maybe you could say I think Mini Beast is a better name for it, where he's just like a miniature version.
He's just a Mini Beast.
I mean, I don't know.
Junior.
Their role is to be a tank character. Like, people aren't using Beast Gohan for his damage.
Slot 1 tank that supports and has a team protector you can get off. That is literally both of the units summarized.
Yeah, no, I don't really understand. Like, where people are like really pushing against this. Like, is there a specific reason? Is it because his team? I don't know.
It's literally just because people don't have any critical thinking. So they think when you call him a Mini Beast that you're literally saying he's as strong as Beast Gohan or stronger, instead of trying to put two together, that they just have similar kits, and that's all that people were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other. He gets one shot by normals. I have an easy 8 of anyways. I put this. This is another tweet that people were massively. People.
That tweet is funny.
Yeah. This one right here. Essentially, this is me saying that there are similar situations where there's slot 1 tank characters that once a character of their level that came out that just does purely damage for the most part, at least are very much offensively heavy, in comparison came out, and then people started trashing on the character, right? I mean, this situation was I almost said STR LR Cooler that came out that year during Worldwide, and you know, it's a thing where people were like TEQ, even I keep saying TEQ for some reason, STR LR Final Form Cooler. He came out, and you could easily argue him as better than Vegeta and Trunks if you wanted to. I could see the argument just based off of what he's also able to do, but they filled different roles, right?
But the issue was that the same situation where people like, I was on the LR Cooler #1 in the unit gate team or whatever, but the issue is that people, to make that argument, they decide, okay, well, the previous unit, I got to make them look as bad as possible now to make my argument stronger. So I'm going to downplay the hell out of them.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, I'm gonna put Vegeta and Trunks in slot 2 and call them bad.
Yeah.
I just don't even necessarily understand that. You know, obviously, Vegeta and Trunks on release were much better than Beerus on release relatively. Obviously, Beerus wasn't like the best character in the game on release. Vegeta and Trunks, I think a lot of people do agree that, you know, when they came out, they were #1 in the game. Some people argued for the gods, Super Saiyan 4s, but, you know, at least they were in that discussion, that heavy discussion. TEQ Beerus never was really in that, like, oh yeah, is he the best character in the game? No. Best TUR is what he was kind of discussed for. Either way, you cannot, like, I know a lot of y'all have seen that too, where there's a lot of Vegeta Trunks downplay after Cooler Worldwide, all the way until the 8th anniversary, and then when they were no longer slot 1 suitable, people were like, see, they were always bad. And then people use the argument, oh, eventually when they age out and they have to become slot 3, they aren't gonna be good anymore. And it's like, yes, that is true, but that's not how the game was at that point. So that's an argument that is just almost like an empty shell argument where you're talking about something that's going to happen eventually, but that has nothing to do with how we rank characters right now.
To be fair, I'm one of those people, but I always rank my characters as trying to think of the future in mind. That's just how I do it.
It's not like a bad thing to do per se. It's just like when you invalidate the character as they are currently because of what they might end up being eventually, right? I mean,
just use it like my pros and cons list, basically.
Like in terms of like TEQ Beerus, he's also gonna be a better aging character than Vegeta Trunks because he's not locked to slot 1 like them. So even in this
just make him a
situation,
slot 3 floater.
I think that's one thing people don't understand as well. You don't have to force this guy to be in slot 1. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, Rebel Gods, you're not running this guy in slot 1 because there's better slot 1s." Okay, he's a support character that you can float around, and once he super attacks, he is in no situation ever going to die. Like, is there an issue with that?
He literally gets like 2 times better defensively after super attacking. People putting him in slot 1 and be like, he dies to go Frieza.
I mean, the thing is that he doesn't even like, unless you get the rage mode and he takes like a couple of normals and he has like none of his reduction, and that's again a very specific circumstance, he's not gonna die. My TEQ Beerus, or no, not mine, sorry. I saw a clip of TEQ Beerus where he lived the under 50% super attack from Goku and Frieza. Obviously, that was without the rage mode, that was with its full reduction. But yeah, he's fine. He's fine, right? I think there are circumstances where he could die, but they're not extremely common, or it's when you set him up for failure, personally.
That's another thing wrong with Dokkan Twitter. They like go out their ways to find the niche situations where units suck in, and then just hammer it in that that's the 24/7 of the unit. They do the same thing for their favorite units, but reverse, where they go and find the niche situation where they look like the best unit in the game and act like that's the performance every turn.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's the Twitter clips, right? I was literally about to say Twitter clips, and we can get to here. So let's play this, and this does not show Beerus in a good light at all, right? We can see right here, takes a 250k normal, and then Janemba supers him, and he of course just dies. He takes 250k normal. So what happened here is, I believe they got the rage mode this turn, if I'm not mistaken, and it didn't actually end up canceling Janemba's super, which could happen. Sometimes a boss doesn't super in that turn, and then TEQ Beerus' rage mode doesn't actually cancel the super attack, because during those set of attacks, he decided not to super, and then he didn't have his full reduction and died. One thing you could see here is this attack symbol up here. I believe people are saying that he actually used the Slug's active skill, and if that's true, then Slug's active skill buffs Janemba by 50% attack. That's a lot of attack. And on top of that, Slug's domain is also directly buffing Janemba while not buffing Beerus, which, again, will only happen in this event. Take this guy into the Gogeta fight, take this guy into the Goku Frieza fight, and Slug's domain is actually not buffing the boss right there, because obviously he will only buff the certain characters that would actually fit that domain buff, right? And I guess to be specific with Slug's domain buff, I believe Janemba, like if we take a look here, where is Slug? Am I blind? I'm probably just really blind.
Yeah, you're a little blind. You just went right past it.
Second right here. Yep. Yeah, if you take a look at his domain, right? Demonic power characters get this ability, but then increases damage received by super class enemies and allies 10%. So Janemba is doing 10% more damage. So on top of Beerus potentially being more HP,
Slug being an STR type,
buffing him that. There's a lot there that you kind of have to consider. And if you're playing smart, personally, me right here, I would have put Slug slot 1 and then TEQ Beerus in slot 2. Like, it is something you could move around, right? It's not like TEQ Beerus has to be locked to slot 1 unlike other characters. This is a situation where you're making yourself lose, and even then, sure, TEQ Beerus died, but it's the situation.
All things considered, with how buff Janemba was, they're taking that for 1 million. Actually, isn't that bad? Not many units would have done that.
It's just a very silly clip here. Like most characters in that situation, like also don't live as well, so that's something to consider.
Because Beast Gohan also dies in that situation, by the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that. Like, every single unit has something bad about them that holds them back. Sure, if you put TEQ Beerus in the worst situations, he's gonna obviously die. But like, barely any unit is living there when they have all of those buffs stacked up against them.
The only character that doesn't have a turn where they could realistically die, like if you're just running them in slot 1, is TEQ LR Broly, the friend that came out during World Wide. Like, that's a character that, like, I've never ever died with that character. Ever. Just by running him in slot 1 in the fight, right? Other than him, I don't see a situation where, you know, a character could just like straight up die. Again, if you're running them in slot 1. Every character will have a time where they have a weakness. Iggy wanted me to look at this thread here, so we're just taking a look here. Beerus is just a mini beast. Not saying he's good or is better than Beast, right? Is what you were saying. So I'll let you kind of explain this since you were arguing with him.
Yeah, because he's obviously on the anti-beast train, and he's just like made that clip that is just very clearly just purposely putting Beerus in his worst situation ever just to make him look bad. And then he's just trying to argue that it's just not correct to compare him to Beast, because like Beerus doesn't have an on-command team protector, but like that's not what we're saying. We're saying that he has a team protector like Beast. And then he's further in the thread, he tried to argue, like you can see right there, he says he's mid at being a tank, even though Beerus is one of the better tanks in the game. And then he also tries saying the rage mode is not a team protector ability, which, as far as I know, this community has always considered that as a team protector. Because I know damn well when Orange Piccolo was running around with his giant form, people were not saying it's not a team protector ability. So I don't know why we're all of a sudden trying to switch up just to downplay Beerus here. But that's basically what this thread turns out to. I just stopped arguing because I was getting brain damage. Because this is clearly the most biased argument I've ever seen in my life. I personally am not even the biggest fan of Beerus. I think I say it in the start somewhere because I just find tank characters boring. But I'm also not gonna say he's bad because clearly he's really good. Like, he's top 1 to top 3 EZA units in the game right now.
I think that, like, I don't know. I really, there's like nothing for me to say. I just don't see the viewpoint, because canceling out the super attack is still such a huge thing. So, like I said, because, you know, like in this situation, Beerus could have also just canceled the super attack, and then maybe Geneva could have been slot 1. It's not a common occurrence for that not to happen, right? It is situational. We see right here, when you start treating doesn't do damage as weakness for units again, that's what most of this Beerus stuff comes down to. And I would say this is actually not like the worst thing to say, because there is the damage check with the bosses now, and because of that, I think damage just
agree, because like defense is cool and all, but like you eventually have to kill the boss, so doing damage is as as important. I don't care what anyone says. You can copy the presets all the time, but both are just as important because you can't kill the boss doing 0-0-0-0.
I would say
I agree with that point.
I still lean towards
the
defense.
main unit's role is to be damaged, right? But we don't look at Beerus and go, yeah, that's the guy who I'm going to bring to be a damage dealer. Like, you just don't, right? You bring it as a defensive unit.
Yeah,
so to
every
use
unit
that
has
argument against Beerus, it's just stupid.
Well, I think the funny part about this too is that the other character there is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and like everyone keeps ignoring that he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he does not do damage, bro. You can wake him as much as you want. That is not a damage dealing unit. He's also just a fake.
Being real, the only reason he does damage to Goku Frieza is because he's type advantage. If he was not,
then you have to Giga Wink him to get there.
you have to give him
attack. You have to give him 2 glorious supports.
You have to give him.
Got to get time of Goku's.
It's not necessarily that. You need to get him. You could do on Buu Saga, right? I did it on his own team. He just needs to hit a 13 mil attack stat, or like 12, 13 mil or so, and he has to get a crit off, of course. But you need like attack equips. I did have Glorio floating around, one of the Glorious floating around in his team. You might need Ultimate Gohan on rotation, right? It's not like a Wink situation, but it's not going to be very common, and you know, you have to have this guy at least like 2 dupes, of course, to even do that, which, being fair, a lot of the times we talk about the rainbow scenario, but I think a lot of people will have TEQ Beerus rainbowed a lot more often than this guy, but he might not hit those attack stats, especially if you have to run him in slot 1. He's definitely not hitting that level of attack, so that is something to go ahead and consider. I'm still
really funny.
I'm still someone that leans. Go on.
I was gonna say, it's really funny because everyone's been glazing the ever-loving hell out of the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but now all of a sudden we're downplaying Beerus, even though they essentially do the same job.
I mean, they do the same role. Yeah, I mean, if anything, Beerus is more
Beerus does more
because he's not a character that would lose his reduction over time, and people will glaze this character. This character is even like arguably his restriction is worse because it's only one category, while TEQ Beerus is on multiple categories with his restriction. He just always has his ability up. I think turn 1 this guy will be better, for sure, right? But like beyond that, TEQ Beerus is doing just overall more, especially because he's also supporting. If we're gonna compare these two side by side, I would say, I mean, like, sure, you could say he doesn't do damage, and that's a way that can make him better. But him not doing damage as a tank character doesn't make him bad.
So here's the thing I've always had, my little theory crafting or whatever you want to call it, is like if a support unit doesn't do damage, it doesn't matter because they're making your other damage dealers do more damage. So they're just doing the damage for the support unit itself. So Beerus is a giga tank while also being a support unit. So where his damage comes from is the other units on the rotation doing the damage for him.
Being fair, if you're running up on extreme class, he only supports defense, but like on Realm of Gods, you know, super class, TEQ UI Goku's counters, right? That he could help those out.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, even just defensively for these extreme class characters, we'll definitely take it because a lot of these extreme class characters, you know, a lot of them I feel like have damage reduction or, you know, these defensive abilities built in already. I guess kids in general do have that when, you know, the support gets scoped pretty nicely. I mean, it's not like the most busted support ever, but him being an invincible character in a pretty much like 99% of the game, and supporting on top of that, I just do like that, right? It's just like this guy's also very easy to use. He's not like a build-up character.
He doesn't have that much build-up either. He wants to get hit 4 times.
Yeah, another thing with his support as well is like there is times where you can't run him in slot 1 if you know how to play the game, but the thing is he's given the at least defense support to the extreme class out so they can take the slot 1 for him. And then super classes has like 50 slot 1s to begin with, so it's not even that important.
Like for extreme class slot 1s you have Janemba and I guess you could run Broly, TEQ Broly, but then after that I'm not sure. I can't really sort here by extreme class, unfortunately.
Kid Buu for the first couple turns.
Yeah, then... Kid Buu as well could work, but like they're not all going to be on the same team together. I feel like it's really situational, right? I think for like a lot of those other characters potentially be slot 1, I think Beerus is like definitive, like, oh, he's a slot 1 character. Kind of similar to Janemba, I would feel like is like a definitive, oh yeah, you could always pretty much run him in slot 1. And again, there will be the situations where they could die, but I'm not gonna like count that against the character per se. So we'll talk about this guy in a bit if he's brought up here. But no, I think I see that damage does matter, and him not hitting Goku Frieza cap again. As a tank character, I just don't really care, honestly, to be honest. Mike brought this up here, and what do you think he's gonna say? This is Alan Dokkan responding. I don't know what to vote here. Let's do this. People are thinking that he's not gonna like him. Doesn't matter.
He doesn't like him just because when Beerus came out, I called him a mini beast, and Alan threw a fucking shit face about when I said that when Beerus first came out. So Alan hates him by default because he knows I'm right.
I mean, what's your opinion on my cock and balls? Is what he said. So he really just doesn't care right here, anyways. But yeah, no, this is just funny.
On top of that, I feel like a lot of people again just like forget, right? So in these really difficult fights, like let's specifically go Frieza for example, right? When we're talking about the rage mode and how it deletes super attacks and how it has the ability to not delete them if the boss doesn't do the super attack, if we get more fights like Go Frieza, which have like a 50% chance to do a super attack and you're almost always going to get supered in slot 1, that rage mode is just going to get better and better as long as that super attack chance stays pretty high, right? But there's also like tons and tons of attacks too towards the end of the fights. So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be a thing that's looked better upon as time goes on. And the reason why is just because like people are hyper focusing on like Janemba and Gogeta, right? And it's just like those fights obviously have like a smaller chance to do the super attack. So yeah, you can get definitely caught. But
well, not with Gogeta. I think Gogeta like very consistently gets like a super or 2 per turn. I think Janemba is a boss that like I think he has a 14% chance to super. So sometimes you may not like of course see that happen. But it's like that's pretty much the only fight and situation that happens. Like that was arguably just like forcing a worst case scenario on Beerus. That clip that Lord Minatos showed here.
And he wasn't even fully built up either.
This kind of a this kind of a honestly a dumb clip. Honestly, it's like
If anyone uses that
It was
clip
very
as like an
avoidable, I
argument
feel
against
like.
Beerus, you're just as stupid. Like that's
Yeah.
literally just like the absolute worst case scenario, and it's preventable. You just put Slug in slot 1 and you win. Like that's all you
yeah,
have to do.
and like he still had the opportunity to cancel the boss super there, which is obviously just better than nothing. I mean, just a lot of situations
Plus,
he will
it
just
can
cancel
happen
it.
2 times as well.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. That's insane.
I do like the
People
rage
give
mode.
enough credit. People do
Um,
not give that enough credit. That he has it twice.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that because it's like not a lot of situations where you will end up seeing it twice because these teams are just strong enough nowadays to maybe you just don't need it in a lot of different situations. I mean, I've gone multiple runs in Goku Frieza where I just haven't even gotten his rage mode just because he's concrete and that team is like, just not really taking a lot of damage or healing a lot with Slug. That's another thing. You're healing a lot with Slug and like all these other characters, so you're not in a lot of situations even going to be losing in this part. I could see you maybe lose this part because obviously if you get the rage mode, this is gone. But losing this with like Slug and stuff, I don't really think that happens very often. Because like you have like Kid Buu healing, you have Infat Buu healing, you have Slug healing, Metamorphosis like Janemba even like it's not a common occurrence to happen really. So I don't know. I just
Another thing that I feel like I've seen a lot more with recent TURs, especially with EZAs, right? They always have like extra conditions that you have to fulfill in terms of like orbs or key or something like that, right? And Beerus is just kind of free, right? Like he gets 3 key at the start, he gives 2 key support, so he's always going to start off with 11 key no matter what. And meanwhile, it allows that chance for other TURs to get those rainbow orbs, to get those orbs that they need, while Beerus can just confidently sit in slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and get 12 key immediately. And he doesn't need anything extra. It's like literally just so free.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like he's very straightforward. I mean, it's that the restrictions on the teams you're gonna run him just not really gonna be an issue. Like you're not running him on any other of these teams. Like Legendary Existence is not a team. Worthy Rivals is not a team. These aren't teams you're running. Like these don't have leaders. Like who cares? Like the teams you're running him on, Realm of Gods, movie bosses. Like they are not only do they have multiple different ways to run them, they will all give him his restriction. So I just don't see it. I mean, I think Planetary Destruction is led by Broly, and that's why people bring it up. But again, like you don't need to run this guy on this team, and even then, it's not like you can't. Like you could probably slide in one uncontrollable power character on Broly's team, and it's not gonna be a situation where every single time I'm gonna miss Broly's domain. If you know how to do your rotations properly, that really is gonna be an issue, right?
Yeah, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. I think that's pretty much all there is to say. So we're gonna end it here. Let me know what you guys think about the whole TEQ Beerus shenanigans, and we'll see. As I think once we get into 10th anniversary, that's just a stupid image. Well, I think a lot of people will understand what kind of we're talking about, and it's like. Even on aging, if this TEQ Beerus gets pushed to a spot where he's no longer slot 1, okay, well, now you're just giving him 160% extra defense he'll get every single time, and he's still supporting. So, and he still counts as
There's also a
Beerus.
good chance. There's also a good chance that like if the anniversary units is like Super Saiyan Goku, for example, just because we're looking at Kamehameha, if it's Super Saiyan Goku, he's gonna be on Exploding Rage. So Beerus is gonna work on that as well. He's gonna be working right next
if
to
it's
him.
like he leads like Exploding Rage or Legendary Existence, you could just throw TEQ Beerus as a floater on that team, and he's gonna get his passive guarding, supporting, chance to cancel enemy supers. Like, what is? I just don't understand. Like, whatever.
Or if in Super Saiyan Goku gets an EZA as well.
I mean, I don't see it. Like he's doing so much, and it's really a thing when you use him in game properly. You'll see that he just doesn't really die. So there we go. But
He's better than Kid Buu and Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, sorry to tell y'all.
I would say, I think I'm gonna have a tier list up, maybe even just later today, but probably tomorrow.
Yeah, don't spoil the tier list, Iggy.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. I would say they're all in the same tier list.
Tune in.
I think they're all in
Tune
that
in
same
next
tier.
time. Minato balls.
Okay, I'm ending here because these guys are being stupid. Thanks y'all for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.